Oregon has had generations of women with courage, compassion, and conviction. From its pioneer days in the suffragette movement, in political representation, and in education, healthcare, business, and nonprofits, women have shaped our state and ultimately our country. So today on International Women's Day, we honor the service, leadership, and generosity of our Oregonian women, past, present, and future. I'm Barbara Ramirez-Spencer, Chair of the Oregon Commission for Women, who, along with our commissioners today, welcome you to the signing of the Women's History Proclamation by Governor Kate Brown. Pleased to recognize the legislative representatives and staff who are here, who made time out of their busy schedules to be here. I'd also like to introduce our two Women of Achievement awardees, Nancy Campbell-Mead. And Japan Silapasai Okamura, who will be recognized for their leadership and service to the women and children of the state. That ceremony will immediately follow after the signing of the proclamation. We have many community partners here. There's sort of too many to recognize, but I thank you all for being here today. And finally, I'd like to welcome the young women who are here. There's quite a few of you here, and I welcome you in particular because you are the hope and future for women in Oregon. Now it's my great pleasure to turn this event over to Governor Kate Brown, herself a former Woman of Achievement, a real supporter of equity for women and girls, and a role model for breaking barriers.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Yay, thank you. Thank you all so much. I'm just delighted to be here with you this afternoon and celebrate International Women's Day in Oregon. Yay! Well, today we're certainly honoring the champions who gave women a voice and a vote many, many years ago, particularly in times when we were ignored or marginalized. But the month is also about recognizing and thanking the courageous women who have, over the course of our history, stood up for the issues that matter most to us, including social justice, pay equity, reproductive health access, and education. Welcome, you guys, and you're wearing the right colors today. But it is my belief that we have to keep working together to address the many issues that women and children face across the state. And if we needed another reminder, our current political climate tells us we must keep fighting for what we believe in. Yes. And I think it's also fair to say that the women's marches around the world showed us we are very mighty together and we cannot give up. Yes. I'm curious, how many in this room participated in a women's march a couple of weeks ago? Yay! Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, I am so excited to do this recognition of Women's History Month, particularly honoring the 2016 Women of Achievement awardees. These women have worked tirelessly, both personally and professionally, for equal rights for women and immigrants, two groups whose rights are threatened in this current political climate. So I would like to applaud Nancy Campbell-Mead. Congratulations. Thank you. Okay, Champone, I'm going to say your last name, Akamura. Did I do okay? Okay. Congratulations. Thank you both for being bold and brave and the achievements that you have made to our communities and across the state of Oregon. These women, along with many of our Oregon foremothers who came before them, show us that by working with purpose and determination, we can make our shared dream of equality and justice for all come true. Audre Lorde, a writer, feminist, and civil rights activist, once said, "I am deliberate and afraid of nothing." We are certainly living in frightening times, but we must not be afraid. We have our allies, we have one another, and we must be very deliberate about our actions. We owe it to the next generation of women and girls to be the leaders and to give voice to the voiceless. We will write our own history today. So I am very pleased to read the proclamation. Whereas throughout our history, extraordinary women have made significant contributions to the growth and strength of our state and nation in countless ways. And whereas through leadership, innovation, and ingenuity, women have led movements for social and economic justice, guided our politics, enriched our culture, charted economic directions, cared for the needy, taught our youth, and served our country in wars. And whereas today, more women are their families' primary breadwinner than ever before. Women comprise half of our nation's workers and are increasingly among the most educated. Yet, they continue to face workplace discrimination, a higher risk of sexual assault, pay some of the least affordable costs for caregiving in the nation, and an earnings gap that will cost the average woman hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of her working lifetime. And whereas we recognize the victories, struggles, and stories of the women who have made our state what it is today, and proudly join with the Oregon Commission for Women as it builds a bridge between the past, present, and future in its advocacy for women and girls. And whereas during this month, as we celebrate the rich culture and achievements of women's history in Oregon, we dedicate ourselves, I'm going to ad-lib, we rededicate ourselves to address the sweeping challenges still facing Oregonian women in achieving equity and access to the prosperity of Oregon. Now, therefore, I, Kate Brown, Governor of the State of Oregon, hereby proclaim March of 2017 to be Women's History Month in Oregon and encourage all Oregonians, male and female, to join in this observation. Thank you. Everybody want to come up for the photo? Come on up.
Sorry.
All right. Come on.
Ariana.
And I didn't get the red memo. So.
Red. Start. You got red.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, all right. Okay. Come on in. Come on, Representative Maelstrom.
The other side. Ari, come here. Come here.
Yeah, other side. There you go.
Come here. My little people. Come here. Ari.
There's one.
Come here. Come stand next to mommy.
There's two. Everybody up? All right. Here we go. Congratulations, everyone. All right, Madam Chair, I think I turn it back to you.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to make sure
There you go.
that our two awardees
Yes.
receive this and the proclamation.
All right.
Okay.
Don't go away.
To be continued. Do you want your seat back?
No, we can just put it underneath. That's great.
Okay. Thank you.
Just going to hang out right here.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, now we're going to sort of take part two of this great event. So, welcome to the 2016 Women of Achievement Awards ceremony being held during Women's History Month and on International Women's Day. First, another special welcome to our two outstanding honorees. You're going to hear their names over and over again, which is wonderful. Nancy Campbell-Mead and Chapan Sindapasai Okamura. Our two and their guests who are here today, family members and friends.
Yes.
Thank you to Governor Brown, who will be joining us, and to our equity champions here who are here. We have legislative representative staff, governor staff who are here, We have people from the community representatives such as AAUW, the Women's Center for Leadership, and finally, a welcome to all of you who are supporters of equity for women. Yes. Without you, this day would not be possible. Woo! So the Oregon Commission for Women is the sponsor of today's event, and since 1983, the Commission has worked for women's equality through advocacy, research, leadership, and partnership. We're a group of 11 women, 9 citizens, and 2 legislators who come from different backgrounds but who work together for the equality of women and girls in Oregon. And today we have several commissioners with us. We have Vice Chair Kim Olson, Commissioners Dr. Doris Cancel Tirado, and Nikki Fisher, who are here. Okay. So thank you so much. And we have Mary Watanabe, who's of Okapia, who's here. And we also have, I believe, former Commissioner Representative Sherry Malmstrom, who's here too. Yes. There you go. And there are more of you. So thank you so much.
Reagan's here too, former commissioner.
Do you know something? Anyone who's been elected, raise your hands and be acknowledged. Thank you so much. I apologize if I don't know all your names. It's all, everyone has red on today. It's hard. As part of our charter, each year the Oregon Commission for Women recognizes remarkable Oregon women who have not only made an impact on the lives of women, but have also left their mark on the respective communities and fields. This year's awardees join an elite group of 94 women who since 1985 have received this honor. Our honorees represent the values of inclusion, determination, integrity, and generosity. And we know this to be a fact because each was nominated and recommended by some of you who are here as guests today. With great admiration and respect, you highlight the achievements of these women for us to review, and we thank you for your support of these awardees. We believe these women embody our state motto, "She flies with her own wings." Today, we will honor these women with a certificate and then with donated gifts of flowers and custom-designed jewelry from women-owned businesses. These donations, gathered through the hard work of Commissioner Nikki Fisher, come from young entrepreneurial women who, when asked to donate, never hesitated. As one woman wrote us, "It is an absolute honor to be able to gift my jewelry to these 2 very deserving women." And now let me introduce I'm sure your families will be happy. And not only 1 piece of jewelry, 4 pieces of jewelry. Wow. And now let me introduce Representative Teresa Alonso Leon, the first Latina immigrant to become an elected representative and a strong woman leader within the state and within our community. It is my privilege to serve with her on the Advisory Council for PSU's Center for Women's Leadership. She is a real superstar. She will say a few words and then present the recognition certificates to our honorees, and Governor Kate Brown will assist and shake hands and be available for pictures. And after that, we'll hear a few words from each honoree. So, Representative?
Okay, thank you, Barbara. Hello, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Teresa Alonso Leon. I am the state representative for House District 22, which consists of the areas of Woodburn, Jervis, and North Salem. I have been so fortunate in my life to be surrounded by strong, confident women who have supported me, inspired me, challenged me, and encouraged me to follow my passions and pursue my dreams. I believe that when women come together in support of each other and make our voices heard, our impact is impossible and it's not ignored. The purpose of Women's History Month is to recognize that impact. Today's celebration brings us together to honor 2 incredible women for their leadership and service. This year's awardees are all recognized for being fearless and for standing up for the rights of immigrants, women, and children. We applaud these women and the achievements they have made to their communities and to women in our state. These remarkable women are trailblazers in their respective fields, but have worked with intentional purpose for causes that are not only to improve the lives of communities they serve, but all women and girls in Oregon. I am so grateful to know that we have extraordinary leaders to advocate for women all across our state. The work they have done for women is not just service to those individuals, but will continue to inspire the Oregon women of the future to carry on their legacy. Please join me in recognizing Nancy Campbell Mead and Chapon. ¿Sí lo pasai? Perfect. Okay, mira. I was practicing. So we have beautiful certificates, as Barbara mentioned.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
And so I will read what is inscribed, and then we'll then pass them on over. So the first one's for Nancy Campbell Mead. As an attorney, judge, and advocate, Nancy Campbell Mead has worked throughout the years to improve the lives of women and children. While modest by nature, she's a fighter who frequently is found working behind the scenes to effect change on the social, state, and national levels. From starting the Washington County Domestic Violence Coordinating Council to promoting the Oregon Equal Rights Ballot Measure and to serving on the advisory board of Transactive Gender Center, her impact on vulnerable communities of women and children is endless. Her work with the National Organization of Women, with the Central Coast chapter and the National Board, establishes a strong legacy of impact, action, and change for this and future generations of women, including her beloved 3 granddaughters. It is with heartfelt thanks and admiration that we join her many other supporters in honoring her contributions. Nancy? Congratulations. Then you can give your speech.
Oh, here, we'll take this.
Thank you. Wow, what an honor. I am truly humbled by this. I am especially honored to be sharing the award with Champone, and I'm not going to try the rest of it. What an amazing woman. I can't even imagine the challenges she has faced and overcome. Nobody goes through life alone, and I really feel this honor should be shared with those who have walked it with me. I can look at the list of former honorees and realize how fortunate I am to have had several of them as friends and mentors. To name a few, it was Vera Katz and Barbara Roberts who really got me into politics back in the early 80s. Barbara Roberts actually, and Grattan Cairns, brought me down here into a basement room and told me how easy it would be to run for the legislature against, I was a Democrat, and still I'm a Democrat, against a Republican incumbent who wasn't really a very bad representative. Well, it wasn't easy, and I didn't win, but Barbara and Vera were extremely helpful to me. And I did, a few years later, get appointed to the bench as a judge, and I had a contested election. So I really had learned from that first experience. But Vera and Barbara were also there for me again, and I greatly appreciated it. It was during that time that I also formed a friendship with Nancy Riles and Mary Alice Ford. Both of these women were Republicans. They lived near me, though, in my general area of Washington County. And while we were different political parties, our goals were really the same. The parties weren't as different then as they are now. We met frequently for lunch or otherwise socialized, and they were true mentors for me, and unfortunately they are both gone now. A few years later, I started playing golf with Betty Roberts. And she was just a constant inspiration and mentor, and really a close friend. We were friends until her death a few years ago, and I really miss her. I miss her guidance. Wonderful person. And then there was also Governor Brown. I'm going to tell a story about you.
Oh, no.
No, it's not bad. Shortly after I became a judge, and you were a baby legislator, I was in charge of a conference over in Wawawa Lake, and we invited Governor Brown, then legislator Kate Brown, to come speak. And I had a cabin, so she stayed in the same cabin, and we stayed up, 1, 2 in the morning, and just had a great time. And I'll always remember that. And I thought at the time, this woman's going someplace. She has. She's fabulous. And I can tell you that she's nationally recognized. When I was at the National Now Conference, or a board meeting last fall, and we wanted to endorse her, and we had to kind of do a backdoor way because National Now doesn't normally endorse. Ellie Schmiel, if you know her, she's publisher of Ms. Magazine, and really a true, strong advocate, was president for a number of years of National Organization for Women, was sure that if Hillary got elected, we were going to lose Kate Brown. So there's one advantage, the only one I can think of. I want to also mention those who are with me here today. My husband of 26 years, Stephen Mead, who's in the back of the room. My close and long-term friend, Susan Reese Painter, who invited me to my first NARAL fundraiser more than 35 years ago, and who also, with her husband, John Painter, walked a lot of doors for me in my 2 contested elections. Thank you, Susan. And she's just been a wonderful friend and supporter for these 35 years. The 2 women who nominated me for this award are here, and certainly are as deserving of it themselves. Michelle Gano-Jones, who's the executive director of Oregon Now, and Lisa Frack, who is the president of Oregon Now. And their 2 girls, Maggie and Georgia, they're amazing girls. I've gotten to know them a little bit by staying the night when I come up for board meetings. I stay with one of them, and it's been a real pleasure to get to know the children. And our grandniece, who's also on the board of Oregon Now, Amanda Schrader, who, with a War on Women rally she organized in 2012, got me back into political activism. I don't know whether to say thank you or not. And Amanda is here with her daughter, Emmanuelle, who is already an Active Now member. I was really, really proud of Emmanuelle at a national meeting last year when she stood up and she presented a resolution. The resolution I thought was a wonderful idea, and I learned something about what's going on in schools nowadays, but basically to provide free feminine hygiene products, that they be available in the girls' bathrooms for them. I didn't realize because of security, girls can't carry purses now. And so, that's my understanding. And so then it really adds an additional layer of a problem. So, okay, I did want to add, we all know today is International Women's Day. Oh, I haven't mentioned Sheila Swimpert and Frankie Trujillo Dalby, who are Central Oregon Coast Now board members and true activists, just wonderful, wonderful woman. It is a day today recognized as a rallying point to build support for women's rights and full participation in the political and economic arenas around the world. While many accomplishments have been made, we still have a long way to go, locally, nationally, and internationally. This year's International Women's Day may go down in history as the one with being the most vocal. I've been through many International Women's Days, and they're usually very small, not very active. Today is a huge one. There is also the Day Without a Woman strike going on, in which every woman everywhere is being asked to not go to work, not to shop, and to do some form of activism to demonstrate the importance of economic impact that women have in our society. Unfortunately, the work of the Commission for Women is not over, nor is any of our work over. I again want to thank you so much for this honor. There is no way I can exaggerate how much it means to me. Thank you.
Okay. Shapan. Shapan, as an attorney and community leader, Shapan Sinlapasai Okumura campaigns tirelessly for the rights of immigrants and refugees as she works to combat the effects of domestic violence, serious crime, and human trafficking on women and children. As a bridge builder between Asian community organizations and the criminal justice system, she serves as a strong advocate, building relationships, fostering partnerships, and taking direct action. Her support for marginalized women and children has led her to volunteer within the community organizations, such as the Asian Pacific American Network of Oregon, also known as APANO, Immigrant Refugee Community Organization, also known as IRCO, and the Asian Family Center, as well as government organizations as the Federal Bureau of Investigation, also known as the FBI. And the Oregon Department of Justice. As a former refugee herself, she brings compassion and resolves to issue raised on the local, state, and national levels. It is with heartfelt thanks and admiration that we join her many other supporters in honoring her contributions. We hereby recognize Shapan Sinlapasai Okumura as an Oregon Outstanding Woman of Achievement.
And then you can make a speech.
I'm a little bit of a crier. I'm going to confess that now. It's very hard for me to stand here before you because I know, as a former refugee, and as a refugee, I take that title everywhere with me. I know I'm not supposed to be here. When my parents fled Laos 37 years ago during the war, my dad swam across the Mekong River with us on the boat to survive. I stayed there for 18 months. I got malaria, had worms. My mom gave up her food so that I could eat. So the reason why I'm here, all these beautiful men and women who fought, the Americans, the doctor who cured me, and the people who took us in when we came to the United States. So with this award, I take it not just for me, but for every refugee who is stuck. I am the 1%. And I take that with pride. And I'm sorry that I'm emotional about this, but every day, as I fight this battle as an attorney, as an advocate, as a social worker, as a mom, these are all things that resonates every day on why I do what I do, for not just us in Oregon, but for us as the United States and the United Nations Commission on Refugees. Lives are important. I am really honored to be serving our state in multiple capacities because we have the leadership of the Governor Kate Brown, who I was here last year, who welcomed refugees when the rest of the governors refused to. And that day taught a lot about our community and gave pride to our community. And then with the executive order, it solidified a lot of the fears that we continue to have every day. Today, I want to thank the Oregon Commission and Governor Kate Brown for this honor. Today, International Women's Day, and we honor and pay tribute to we, the people of the United States, who stood for equality, humanity, freedom, and our Constitution. I would never imagine that 37 years ago, when U.S. opened its door to accept me as the 1% and my family, that I would be receiving this award. I would never imagine that I had the opportunity to teach law enforcement about to work with communities of colors, how to rescue children who've been abused, abandoned, neglected. These are all opportunities I was given because the U.S. opened its doors for me. I know that I stand here because of the love and the support of my husband, Rick Okumura, who has allowed me for the last 18 years when I was stuck in tears to give me strength to care for my 3 kids, to feed them when I was at the airport fighting for constitutional rights, picking up refugees who were affected by the executive order. He cooked their dinners. He drove them to classes when I was too exhausted to even cry. It's very important. I thank my parents who live with me because it's important for me to give back to the generations that have cared for me. And my beautiful children, my girls, who I work so hard for, because I want them to know that this country loves them and their brother, and that regardless of what happens, that they are the pioneers of the future. I thank my law partner, John Mirandis, who couldn't be here because he is fighting for the rights of our Constitution, and my other associate, Luis Garcia, who couldn't be here, and my law family. Without them and their tireless effort in my firm, I could not do what I do day and night. Our days as immigration attorneys are 14 to 18-hour days now. It's not the same as we were before. I thank my sisters who are in the room, Koi, Mari, Saporn, Tak, so many of those refugees and immigrants who have stood by me, beside me through the years when I wanted to fight, and they believed in me. When I said this was unconstitutional, they went to the airports with me. They stood by my side. My brothers, Mr. Lee, the executive director of IRCO, Dijimit, Africa House's executive director, so many more that is not named here. They have taught me that our struggle, that their struggle, our resilience, and our hard work can make an impact not just in Oregon, but globally. This is International Women's Day. We are helping women and children all around the world. I accept this award as a refugee survivor, as a mother, a wife, a legal scholar, attorney, sister friend, advocate for all human rights. The world that I've seen is the worst that one can ever imagine reading in books or played out in movies. We are the voice of the men and women who are held captive by traffickers for decades, abused emotionally, sexually, emotionally, where traffickers treat human beings as commodities to be traded, sold, and transferred. Where human beings are property. This is our world today, 2017, where families sell their girls into slavery because of their gender. This is today, 2017, where children are literally thrown into the streets because families refer to them as, quote unquote, the unwanted because of their sexual orientation, their physical defects, their mental health issues, or the color of their skin. This is 2017. In our world, communities do not embrace differences, but use it as a reason to hurt, torture, kill, and persecute vulnerable children, women, and families. This is our world. This is my reality. When I speak and when I fight and we talk about progress, we have to make ourselves understand and remind ourselves that there are still gaps in our lives every day. Ask yourself these questions. Why are boys still preferred over girls? Why do certain societies say it's okay to continue to practice female genital mutilation? Why do we kill and torture those who are born LGBTQ? Why do our laws not protect the most vulnerable people in our world? On this day, International Women's Day, I ask you to open your hearts and mind and learn from each other, about each other, and to protect each other's vulnerabilities. These are virtues that make us a beautiful nation. Thank you.
Well, I think you understand why these are women of achievement and why the commission chose this work. They're so extraordinary and they stand out, but yet we have a state that has many, many other wonderful women. Now, Kate Brown, Governor, you wanted to stay and talk and be available, that's my understanding.
I just want to celebrate.
That's what I celebrate. I also, and I also just want to thank Representative Teresa Alonso Leon for taking time. And for being here today with us. We have a little celebration afterwards.
Okay.
I believe you have the floor right
Okay.
now.
All right.
And then we can celebrate with a wonderful cake.
Okay, so we'll open it up then for a few minutes of questions.
Governor, forgive me, not a question about the ceremony we just witnessed, although it was very moving. I'm curious if you are supportive of ideas floating throughout the legislature now to change the mortgage interest deduction as an operating
I'm like trying to tie this back to this incredible ceremony. I think it's critically important that children and families have a warm, dry roof over their heads. I think you know we have over 20,000 school children in our Oregon public schools that are homeless. This is absolutely unacceptable. I am open to tools that would provide local jurisdictions with more tools in the toolbox to increase the availability of affordable housing. And I have a package, about a $60 million bonding package to build about 1,500 more units. I am confident that that is the floor, not the ceiling, and I'm hopeful that legislative leadership will add to that package.
Dave?
Go ahead.
This is a kind of a local issue in Jefferson County, and forgive me if you don't know about it and haven't had a chance to study it, but there's an issue with providing mental health services there between the county and coordinated care organization. Are you familiar with what's going on there? And is there a way the state can be involved to help get things worked out?
I met with Senator DeBoer last week to talk about the issue. We've got the Oregon Health Authority and others working to make sure that we continue to create a coordinated care system to make sure that folks have comprehensive behavioral health care that they need. Here's the reality in Oregon, Dick, and that is we have really struggled to provide mental health care to our citizens, and we need to do a better job. It's going to take a coordination of efforts. It's going to take citizens throughout the state saying this must be done, and it's going to take action on the part of the legislature to move forward, and I think we need to move forward together.
There's
What's your office doing to sway Tobias Reed toward your side on the sale of the Elliott Forest?
My office, we're working hard on creating a plan that will enable the Elliott Forest to remain in public hands. I believe that the public ought to keep ownership of these valuable public lands, and we're putting together a proposal that I think will the legislature will be receptive to, and that will continue to make sure that the lands remain in public ownership as well as meet the financial requirements under the Common School Fund. In terms of my office, we met with the Treasurer's office today to brief him on that plan. I'm assuming that Oregonians will be using their voices and encouraging the Treasurer to support this proposal.
Governor,
I'm interested in knowing what is your position on menstrual equity, and is there any plans to make sure that all women or people who have menstruation will be provided for the same way we provide all of men's needs in public restrooms?
Well, we have been fighting this issue to make sure that women have access to the general health care that we need. I spent 16 years in the Oregon legislature fighting for contraceptive equity. This was during the time that a number of insurance companies were covering, shall we say, other male physiological needs. And I thought we were going to win the battle and lose the war, and unfortunately we lost that war on that issue. But after 16 years, we were finally able to pass legislation requiring insurance companies to cover contraceptive care, and it took us a very long time. I hope we can move more quickly to make sure that our systems and structures support the needs of women, including our menstruation needs and other reproductive access needs. We have a comprehensive bill in House Bill 2232, did I get the number right? To provide for comprehensive care for women's health care. It's about time. I think we need to keep moving forward.
yeah.
What is your stance on corporate tax disclosure bills, specifically ones that would require companies to disclose their tax credits?
Well, in my role as governor, I've worked really hard to make sure that state government is transparent and open to the public. I think generally speaking, transparency is a good thing. We know the numbers in this state in terms of the relative burden that corporations pay, businesses pay in terms of struggling families, and that is the reality is corporations pay about 5 to 6% of the cost of key essential services, and families across the state of Oregon are paying the remainder, and I think there needs to be, shall we say, more fairness in terms of that distribution.
Governor, can you please describe what conversations, if any, you had with officials in Washington about a new I-5 bridge or a tollway over the Columbia River?
When I was back in DC, I had the opportunity to meet with Secretary Chow. She was, as you know, quite experienced and knows her way around Washington, D.C. very well. We had a delightful meeting. We talked about specific project needs in the state of Oregon. We did not have a specific conversation about the CRC. My focus is on making sure we invest in Oregon's roads and bridges, and our position hasn't changed in terms of Washington. I would just say the ball is in their court.
What about Washington state officials?
The conversation that I had with Governor Inslee was that my priority, my focus is on investing in Oregon's roads and bridges right now, this legislative session, and the ball's in his court, literally and figuratively.
Governor, to go back to the LA State Forest, so is your strategy now to go through the legislature as opposed to going through the land board?
That is a great question, Mr. Hughes. My focus is on putting together a plan that will at least be able to get the 31 and 16 votes that we need in the Senate and the House, so that we send a very clear signal to the land board that we've got broad support for keeping the Elliott, its public lands, keeping it in public ownership, public hands. Thank you. All right, I think we should celebrate. All right, thank you.